everybody. Bob Ufer here in the chilly snake pit of Columbus, Ohio.
Elliott has the first down and more, and Elliott's going to have a touchdown.
Carl, watch out! Blake Carl, blazing speed. Can he get there? No, but he's down at the Ohio State 11.
Samuel cuts it back. Ohio State wins.
Stroud in trouble, and Stroud is sacked again.
There's nothing quite like the game.
Michigan versus Ohio State, the game of the day, the game of the year, the game of the decade. Call it what you will.
This is The Rivalry, sponsored by Elevated Integrity Construction.
Whoops. This is The Rivalry. I just hit my microphone. That was awful. Cool. Rivalry, you already know who it is. It's The Rivalry Podcast. Jace, JP, your garbage-free college football podcast focused on the Ohio State-Michigan football rivalry. On Twitter at RivalPod. On Instagram at 1049 The River. And a big thanks to Elevated Integrity Construction for sponsoring season 4 of this podcast. Not just the construction element, but the design element as well. Home build, church build. If you've got a project, you have to go with integrity. It's elevatedintegrity.com. Elevatedintegrity.com. We are grateful to Elevated Integrity Construction for sponsoring this season of the podcast.
Got some new options for you today.
It is a bowl season. It's the postseason.
It can't roast me now like it did after you know what.
Let's see what we got. We only have 4 options. Someone got a little bit lazy making this wheel route.
Look, there's only so much you can do.
It's just going to spin forever.
Well, this will be the time. This is the episode.
All right. My goodness. Come on, slow down.
Bowl game you're most excited for.
And let's say not the Michigan game or the Ohio State game.
Obvious.
Okay. Oh man. I mean, Iowa, Kentucky just screams.
Stop it.
Okay. Honestly, Tulane and USC has me real interested.
Stop it.
No,
You're excited to watch that?
It's the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. It's a New Year's Six. USC is ticked off that they lost their chance at the playoff, as they should be. They should be ticked off at themselves. Tulane would have made the playoff in an expanded playoff year. This is great. This is a preview of what expanded playoff could look like.
That is going to be an absolute crime scene.
Because of how bad USC is?
Caleb Williams is going to dismantle
Caleb Williams is hurt, dog. Let me pick what
Williams.
Let people enjoy things. If I want to enjoy ride the wave.
I hope.
Do you remember that the whole?
I hope so bad that is a TikTok this week.
Do you remember the Rebecca Black parody where they're going, "My hand is a dolphin"? That's what that is right there. If you don't get that reference, it's fine. It's okay. Tulane and USC. Go ahead.
I just don't even want to respond after that.
You have to pick
I thought
something.
You were going to go Penn State, Utah in the Rose Bowl. I feel like that's an obvious choice.
So then make that choice.
I'm not. I'm going to go Tennessee and Clemson because you decided to throw me off track with Tulane.
It's actually pronounced Tulane.
Stop it.
Yeah, I'll say it like you're from New Orleans. I don't know what that accent was.
I hate every part of this episode so far.
Do you think Capital One Orange Bowl is the Orange Bowl because both Tennessee and Clemson are orange?
If both of them don't wear orange, it's a huge...
Why are we even doing this?
Yeah, who cares?
If I can't scuba, what's this all been about?
What's this all been about?
Oh my goodness. Hey, we're on Twitter.
Sometimes,
at RivalPod. We're on Instagram at 1049 The River. Hey, let's talk about Caleb Williams. Wins the Heisman over the weekend. Surprised by that?
No, I am surprised. I'm surprised by the rankings because it went Caleb Williams taking it home, Max Duggan from TCU taking second, CJ Stroud taking third, and then Stetson Bennett, which I'm not a huge
Why is Stetson Bennett there?
I'm not because Corum got hurt and Hendon Hooker got hurt.
That's the right answer.
I'm not one to talk about fashion because look at me. You see how I dress every single week. It ain't top notch.
Good. Can we turn that into a TikTok?
But Stetson Bennett looked like a 40-year-old man that goes to his local diner, orders a black coffee, eggs and toast, brings a newspaper and sits there with his high school buddies to reminisce about the old days.
Because his high school buddies are his teammates. The dude is 25.
No, they're 18-year-olds. They're not his high school buddies. They were in 6th grade when he was a senior.
He did look like he was the chaperone on the team trip.
He looked like a dad.
My goodness.
He looked like a dad and had no place being there. He's a good college quarterback. Had no business.
And that's not people are going to hear that and think, oh, well, watch Stetson Bennett rip apart Ohio State's defense or rip apart Michigan's defense. It's not a question of is he a good quarterback?
Yeah.
He's a great quarterback. He's just
Heisman
not
caliber.
a Final Four Heisman candidate.
No, and I still think guys like Hooker and Corum deserved to be in there.
I think they should. I think at least one of them should have been invited. I would have even taken. I think he was the first man out. I would have taken Bryce Young. Bryce Young put Alabama on his back this year.
Honestly, yeah. I wouldn't have been upset with that either. So I wasn't surprised that Caleb Williams won it. I think statistically, he was the best of the group.
Yeah. It was wide open.
I am surprised at Max Duggan being ahead of CJ, though. But I respect it. I think what he was able to do, the leadership he showed, statistically, he was right there with CJ. Do I think he's a better quarterback than CJ? No. But that's not what the award is. The award is... Yep. And that's for a different conversation because he also took home best quarterback, which I do kind of have an issue with.
Yeah.
I don't think he was the best quarterback. And I also don't understand how the best quarterback didn't win the Heisman and yet another quarterback did.
Yeah,
it just doesn't really make sense to me whatsoever. The awards are all a scam.
There were a number of questions that I had. I thought, and this pains me to say it, but I thought Marvin Harrison got snubbed for the
I was just about
Blitnikoff.
to say.
And I think Blake Corum got snubbed for the Doak Walker.
And I think his injury played into it, which stinks.
There's no doubt that it does, but
I still agree with you. I still think 100% he should have won that. But I think once that happens, it hurts any of those chances. Marvin Harrison not getting it is an absolute
I agree with you.
Gross
I do
miss.
agree with you.
The awards are all weird. It's tough because Caleb Williams was a phenomenal player. But then I just don't understand how the stuff works.
I think it's one of the things that gives me pause, and we won't go into this episode. We'll go into that closer to the playoff game, but I'll preview a little bit of my analysis since we're talking about awards. Is that I think within the media there's kind of this maybe not consensus, but this near consensus that Michigan is going to steamroll TCU. Mm-hmm. And I look at these awards, and again, awards mean nothing. Sometimes.
Yeah.
But I look at Max Duggan. Who's Michigan going to play? Oh, TCU, they'll beat them by 1,000. Max Duggan is the quarterback of the year. He's the Heisman runner-up. They've got, by the way, a phenomenal wide receiving core. Somebody on TCU, I can't remember his name. It's LaDainian Tomlinson's nephew.
Yeah.
Got defensive back of the year or something. And Sonny Dykes is coach of the year. You don't win that much hardware on one team unless you're a really good football team. So I'll throw that out there for right now. One thing that is giving me a lot of joy, because I couldn't watch the Heisman ceremony. I was traveling, got back, had to furiously Google who won the Heisman. So I was Caleb Williams. One thing that is giving me a lot of joy this Christmas season is that it is possible for CJ Stroud to be the best Ohio State quarterback to have won absolutely nothing. Right now, he has no pairs of gold pants for beating Michigan. He has no Big Ten championships. He has no national championships. He has no playoff wins. He has not won a Heisman. That if that isn't the spirit of Christmas, I don't know what is.
I hate that. But you did say he's the best Ohio State quarterback, which I think is a valid thing.
That feels very much like you're taking that out of context.
That's all I heard was that you said he was the best Ohio State quarterback. So
hey, speaking of great quarterbacks, let's talk about Cade McNamara for a quick second. Guy. So Cade McNamara, we mentioned last episode, hey, he's transferring to Iowa. Wish him well. I think he's going to be a great fit for them. And I had mentioned, hey, we're recording this on, what was it last week? Monday or Tuesday we recorded last week.
I think it was Tuesday.
And said, hey, there's some rumors somebody else is going to follow him. Some people think it might be Eric All. We'll see what happens. About 5 minutes after we finished recording that, all heck broke loose.
Oh, yeah.
And Eric All decided to cryptically tweet about Michigan's culture and why people aren't who you think they are, and it's the best thing for me, and I'm going to go who knows where, and is now taking his official visit to Iowa. So, and then on top of that, Cade came out with this little interview, his first interview as a Hawkeye.
And it was with Carson Palmer and Kyle Allen.
And that whole thing just was salty. He talked a lot, like you got to go watch it for yourself. That's going to be the reality.
He broke down a lot of different topics.
He talked a lot about his injury and how he didn't feel like his injury was handled well by medical staff and trainers. He talked a lot about the quarterback battle, and it did not leave as a Michigan man, it did not leave a good taste in my mouth. I was happy with, hey, this is the best thing for me. I'm not going to start. I'm going to transfer. Cool. Let's cheer you on. But then, especially on the heels of Eric All deciding that he wanted to create animosity on his way out, I felt like the way Cade handled the interview also screamed very heavily that he had a lot of that same animosity of his own. And I don't love seeing players go out like that.
See,
I just don't love it.
I see where you're coming from a little bit, but I also see where he's coming from. And I think he was a little bit different than Eric All. Eric All was very cryptic. And
his dad's on there tweeting stuff.
His felt
it's
a little
weird.
bit more of like an attack at Michigan. The way I look at Cade's situation is different. And I think both sides are right.
How so?
I think McNamara has a right to be upset. I think last year he came in, he proved himself as a valuable starter. He was voted a team captain. He had the trust of the players around him. He didn't do anything to lose the job. He didn't come out there and perform horribly or do anything. He had the whole training camp to himself. JJ didn't participate. He goes into the first game, plays well. They beat the team by 50 points. They go into the next game. Basically, when the season started, Harbaugh came out and said, McCarthy's going the second game. McNamara, you're going the first game.
Colorado State for Cade. It was Hawaii for JJ, and then we'll go from there.
Well, and then after JJ's first start, he said that Harbaugh went in and said JJ's the guy going forward. And here's where I think both sides are right. I think McNamara got dealt a bad hand. He didn't do anything to lose the job. He performed everything the way he was supposed to do it. JJ's just flat out a better ball player. So if you're Harbaugh, it sucks because McNamara did everything right. He came in, he did what you want a team captain to do. He led, he played the position well.
You beat Ohio State for the first time in a while. You won a Big Ten championship.
I mean, you did everything right. But JJ's a better ball player, and you saw it this year. He led him undefeated. He's been a key, probably outside of Quorum, the most important offensive player on that team. I don't think Harbaugh made a bad decision doing what he did. I understand why McNamara is upset about that. And while I could see a Michigan fan not wanting to see him kind of downplay that, I say unbiased, but I hate Michigan. But I try to stay as unbiased as possible when I'm thinking about this, because if I'm McNamara, that is going to upset me, and I am going to feel a little betrayed and a little upset. I think that's just natural human.
I think there's a difference though. Like I get it. I think there's a difference for me between, and this is where I didn't have any issue with him transferring.
I guess
I'm a competitor and I wanted the job. Is different to me than I didn't get the job and therefore I'm going to have sour grapes about it and I'm going to go on, because even the way that he, and again,
so what did he say specifically that irritates you? Because to me,
it was the way he talked about it, where he had, sometimes there's enough, I think, between the lines that you can read, where he was even talking about, being voted a captain, what a great honor that was. And even the way he phrased it, where he talked about being voted captain, he said, and then the next day Harbaugh comes and says, hey, we have 2 starting quarterbacks. And I was just like, okay, like just the way that was even framed was like, sounded very entitled. Like I was just named a captain, but then the very next day I'm not the starter straight out.
I guess I didn't hear it that way. I heard him talking about how much of an honor. And he even said the greatest accomplishment of my career so far is being named a captain, because that's just at Michigan, that's a bigger deal.
So do you remember at the beginning of the year where he was asked about splitting and he had kind of done the whole it's not really my decision?
Yeah.
Kind of surprised me. And I had said, you would ask me about it. And I said, until he gives me a reason to believe he's salty and sour about it, I think it's nothing.
And I thought back then,
this to me sounds like he was saying, yeah, not my choice.
See, I think back then I would have agreed that he was salty then. I understand why he is. I'm not trying to say he wasn't salty, but I think if you look at it, it's the job comparison is a good thing. He went in, and had a competition for the job, and he lost the job. But I don't think he did anything to lose it. It was a decision based solely off potential because their numbers were similar.
See,
I think it's the same thing that irritates me with Rutgers, and Harbaugh just had the nerve to do it. You looked at Rutgers this year, and you have Noah Vedral, you have Evan Simon, and then you have 4-star, your highest recruit at the quarterback position in years, sitting on the sideline. You know you're going to be bad. And instead of putting Wimsatt in, which they did do throughout the end of the season, but the entire beginning, they're splitting games, and he's getting 10 pass attempts one game and then 15 the next. And one game he might start, but he might not. And it's just this big circus. I think when we played Michigan, what did we cycle through? Like 3 or 4 quarterbacks.
A lot. And Johnny Langan was in there.
Yeah, Johnny Langan, which thank the Lord he's done. But you have
Tate Martell of Rutgers.
Yeah, oh man. But you have this weird carousel of quarterbacking that you know the answer. It's there in front of you. You're not dumb. You know that the keys are going to be handed to Wimsatt eventually. Why are you not just going ahead and giving him the keys? And that was kind of similar with Michigan, where you had these two guys, and Cade, I think, would have still got you where you're at today. If he started this season, I still think you are where you are today. But when you build off potential, what are you building? Because this is college. This isn't the NFL, where those guys, you can't sign him to a 10-year deal and have him as your quarterback forever. He's going to be gone. So do you maximize however many years you have with McNamara, which he's a grad now, so he's got transfer. 1 year left, or do you go with McCarthy, who you've got a solid 3 years left? Yeah. And I think the answer is easy. They're both talented, but McCarthy has more potential, and you've seen what's happened. And
I think he showed that right away. Like, I even thought that, again, we can agree to disagree on what did he mean when he said that. I didn't love I was a captain and then we had a quarterback competition. Yeah, man, because you're playing for a team that just made the playoff. Of course you're going to have to compete for it. I thought he was just okay against Colorado State. He talked about he played really well. I watched that game, and the first 2 passes, he bounced one off the turf in front of Ronnie Bell, and then he missed Johnson. And again, it's like, oh, those are cherry-picked 2 passes. But that's the sort of thing where you started the game, and it's interesting looking back now because I went back to watch the first drive. He looked, and I said this back before we knew all this was going on, I said he looks like he's in his own head. He looked like he was in his own head. He goes to the sideline, went 3 and out to start the season. He's just looking up at the scoreboard, just shaking his head. You could tell that the competition was getting to him, / the fact that there even was competition may have thrown him off. JJ came in, and I love this kid because he looks like he does not feel pressure. He comes in, I mean, it's the Ohio State game, and he's just out there, getting some peace of mind beforehand. He's slinging the ball around. He's smiling. He's doing what... He seems like he's got that demeanor that you want. There was no question Harbaugh made the right choice, and I'm even okay with that. What got me was the way that Cade talked about it, and even when he talked about JJ starting at Hawaii, it was like it pained him to give him credit. It was like, I played really well at Colorado State, questionable. And then he had a really good game against Hawaii. I'll give him that. I'm like, what do you mean you'll give him that? It was stuff like that I go, you're supposed to be a captain. Yeah. And tie it all together. Eric All as well, supposed to be a captain. If that's really the biggest honor of your life, you got to go out with a little bit of dignity.
So what does it say for 2 of the captains to come out and have this mentality? Are you concerned remotely at all about the inside culture of that? Because from an outsider's point of view, I look at that and I go, 2 of your better players, 2 captains are coming out now and saying these... Granted, accusations, but not anything in detail. But I think if this was happening at Ohio State, you'd feel the same way.
There's no concern from me, and this is why. Because Mikey Sainristil is also a captain, and there was this fantastic little clip after, I think it was after the Ohio State game. May have been Purdue. I think it was after the Ohio State game, where Harbaugh's at the press conference, and Sainristil just kind of walks behind him, kind of like gives him a little hug, and it's like, oh, hey, get in here, Mikey, and you could just tell that there was just really good chemistry there. And Luke Schoonmaker, another Michigan tight end, took a maybe not so subtle shot at Eric All and had retweeted this video and said something along the lines of, this is the culture day in, day out. Love this program. Can't wait to see where we go from here. JJ McCarthy responded to Schoonmaker and said, that's my captain, talking about Sainristil. That type of that type of interaction tells me that it's probably more about two individuals than it is about the team.
Well, and especially when both of those individuals, they're not transferring to different schools. It looks like they're both going to end up at Iowa.
It does. And by the way, and this was pointed out by a number of people, did those positions see any sort of, because those are two guys who were injured, right? They didn't play most of the year. Did we see any drop off with JJ instead of Cade? Nope. The ceiling's higher. Did we see any drop off without Eric All using Schoonmaker and then Colson Loveland, meteoric rise? No, we're going to be fine. Michigan also just signed a 4-star tight end. I have no concerns about the culture in that locker room.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's not just a game, it's the game. You're listening to The Rivalry.
Are you ready to do this? Because this is, we are off next week as kind of a Christmas type thing. Look at that super high-end PowerPoint that someone definitely spent a lot of time on. If we can figure out how to, don't look at the screen. Don't look at the screen while I'm trying to, you got to click the little presenter thing down at the bottom, my friend. That one. Yep. That one. I think so. Wow. Wow. Look at that.
Beautiful.
Now you can look at the screen. It's fine. Next week we are off. It's going to be our Christmas break, if you will. And then we will have an episode the week of the playoff games to actually talk about Michigan, TCU, Ohio State, Georgia. So this is our opportunity before games start on the 16th to go through our bowl season picks. I am notoriously awful at this. I suck at this.
As we can tell by every single pick that we've done throughout this entire season.
Here's what I want us to do. We were going to come up with a cool name for this thing. Don't have one. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create our own bowl. Okay. The last place you shopped and the last thing you ate. Bowl. That's when you create. So for me, we have got the Amazon Sour Patch Kids Bowl.
Okay. I've got the Etsy Chili Bowl, which sounds so unappetizing to me.
Yeah. How do they ship the chili from Etsy?
I just don't even want that answered.
And here's the fun thing. Michigan State wouldn't even qualify for it, even if it existed. I don't know if you've heard, but Mel Tucker signed to a 10-year, $95 million contract and just had a 4-star decommit from them earlier this morning.
Which is what, their 10th, I think? I think their 10th
it's pretty bad
for the season so far.
4-star.
Yikes.
Some teams are still playing college football and vying for a national title while your 4 stars are decommitting. You hate to see it. All right. Here we go. We're going to go through these and we're just going to give picks. If you got comments, feel free to make comments. This is, I don't know. This is super small type. The Bahamas Bowl. First of all, Miami, Ohio's got to be pumped to go somewhere warm.
Hawks.
I think I took UAB. Look at that logo. It's a dragon.
It is a
That's
dragon.
Awesome.
I'm going to go Miami of Ohio here.
Fantastic.
I have some family ties to the old Red Hawks.
Okay, we don't care. Next.
That felt like a personal attack.
It should have been. UTSA
if you
and
choose
Troy.
anybody over the Roadrunners, how dare you?
This is the Cure Bowl.
How dare you?
I didn't. No, I took UTSA.
I just thought, how can you not root for a team called the Roadrunners?
I think are they ranked? Or somebody's ranked. It's either them or Troy. I don't know. Somebody's ranked. That should be a lot of fun. That's going to be a great game, probably. Couldn't find a great logo for Cincinnati. That's okay.
We can tell.
Here's
They also couldn't find a great head coach because Luke Fickell's gone. So.
Here's the Fenway Bowl. I'm going to take Cincinnati. Listen, they don't have a head coach. That doesn't matter. You don't need a head coach.
Give me Louisville.
Hate that. Louisville. How about the Las Vegas Bowl? This is actually, I think this will be a heck of a game. Florida and Oregon State.
I'm going Florida.
You're wrong.
Florida all day.
Let's go Beavs.
Isn't it like Chomp or something? Isn't that their thing?
Don't act like you don't know.
Tim Tebow will be there, so they're going to win.
Oregon State coming back against Oregon, by the way, completely ruining Oregon's chances at the Pac-12 championship.
Amazing.
Putting Utah in, which probably puts Ohio State in the playoffs. So
thank you.
Big Oregon State fan right here. How about Jimmy Kimmel's LA Bowl?
Did not even know that he had a bowl. How rich do you have to be to have a bowl game named after you?
Do you think the Rivalry podcast could sponsor a bowl game? Like we could get rid of the Gasparilla Bowl or whatever, and we could just do one over at Kahana Lincoln. I think it'd be great.
I would pay for that. The old Crew Stadium's not getting much use, so we might as well just go over there.
Give me Washington State. Why? I don't know. It's a pretty cool logo. That's a good reason.
Fresno State just looks like a college team. Like it just embodies everything I think of when you see like those generic like community
Clip art.
college. Yeah. So I'm going with them.
Fresno State.
Also, Derek Carr went there, so I like him.
Fresno
So.
State's logo looks like, you'll see high school teams that like absolutely just rip off NFL logos and change the colors.
Yeah.
Fresno State's logo looks like that.
Fresno State looks like they went to Gonzaga for one game and saw the Bulldog and was like,
We could do that.
we could do that and just slap a red shirt on him.
How about this? The Lending Tree Bowl. It's Rice against Southern Miss.
I hate that because now I'm hungry. So I'm going to go Rice.
I'm going to go Southern Miss. I can't believe I did that. That's stupid.
I
That
can.
is so dumb. Here's a good religious battle. Southern Methodist against Brigham Young. New Mexico Bowl.
I'm going BYU.
I mean, why wouldn't you? Yeah, BYU beat Notre Dame. I'll take BYU.
Sure.
I'll take BYU here.
That's probably what starts at 8:30 when everyone's asleep and doesn't want to watch it.
It's a 7:30 game on the 17th.
Oh, gross.
How about this? The Frisco Bowl, whatever that means. North Texas and Boise State. This is the one that's at like 9 o'clock.
North Texas's logo looks like when you go to NCAA 14 on the old Xbox 360 and you do a generic high school build. That is the logo that you pick 10 out of 10 times.
Is that the one you're taking?
You know what? Why not?
Okay.
It won't happen.
Yeah, Boise State is the correct
Boise State's
answer
going to
here.
win.
That can't be a real bowl. The Myrtle Beach Bowl.
Oh, it gets worse.
Okay, how about this? For all the talk about Michigan's terrible out-of-conference schedule, how about the UConn friggin' Huskies in a bowl game, which Michigan State did not qualify for?
Stop it.
Give me the Husks.
We Are Marshall. Phenomenal movie and better team. Let's go.
Here we go. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl.
Eastern Michigan. Love it.
The famous Idaho Potato Bowl featuring a team that turned in their logo the night before in San Jose State. It's hard to cheer against the MAC.
I'm not picking either of them. They're both so bad.
It's hard to cheer against the MAC. I've got, again, friends and family ties to EMU. San Jose State. Has to be. By the way, again, Michigan State did not qualify for a bowl named after a potato. So that's cool. How about the Boca Raton Bowl?
I was going to ask how you even pronounce that because
I spent some time in West Palm Beach. It's Boca Raton.
Okay.
If you say Boca Raton, you get hit upside the head.
as a Liberty University alum, I did get a degree
Dude,
online.
you're so smart.
I went,
so smart.
It's debatable. I got my degree from there. Online, so it doesn't really count.
Okay, that's fine. Does
They
that mean
can't
are you taking Liberty
They
then?
can't tell if you're cheating if you have the book in front of you and it's online.
We're going to
I'm going Liberty.
After further review, your master's degree has been revoked.
You know what?
First
It would be
down.
fair.
So are you taking Liberty then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Why not?
I'll take Toledo. Ohio State's arguably best win.
Stop it.
How about the New Orleans Bowl? Western Kentucky.
The only Alabama team to make make something.
Western Kentucky and South Alabama. I don't know, man. Western Kentucky is usually good. So I'll take South Alabama.
You know that the bowl games are bad when you can look at that. I've never seen the South Alabama Jaguars logo until today, and I hate everything about it.
Are you going to take them, though?
Nope.
Okay, that's fair. How about the Armed Forces Bowl? Baylor and Air Force. Exact same logo design, different colors and letters.
We live in the land of the free because of the brave. I'm going the Air Force, baby. Let's go.
I'm going to bet that Baylor can complete a pass. So I'm going to go with. I'm going to go.
Strategy.
By the way, did you watch Army Navy?
Sure didn't because it's awful football every single year. Love what they do.
Me.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Hats
but
off.
It's god awful.
Hats off. Will not watch that football game.
Army won double overtime. It was exciting.
What was the score? 3-0.
It was 17-10 or
Okay.
something along those
It's more
lines.
than Rutgers score. So.
I'll take Baylor in this one. Why not? Independence Bowl.
If you do not take the Ragin' Cajuns, because that's who I've got to go with.
Well, I took Houston.
How do you? They have a chili pepper in their logo.
Oh my gosh, they do.
I didn't even register that.
The name is too long. Call yourselves
But
the Cajuns or something.
No, the Ragin' Cajuns is amazing. Top tier, A+, top tier name.
This is. Oh, I thought Gasparilla was gone. Nope, this is the Gasparilla Bowl. Don't know what it means. Don't care.
What is that?
Don't know. Don't care.
Also,
give me the Deeks. Give me the Demon Deacons here.
I'm going Mizzou. Why not?
I've watched Missouri play football this year.
Did you watch Wake Forest?
That's why you chose
I was
in go Hogs. When I was in Arkansas, I watched Missouri beat Arkansas, and it was the worst football game I think I've ever seen in my life. Army-Navy looked exciting compared to it. Give me Wake Forest. Hawaii Bowl featuring, not Hawaii, Mid-10 and San Diego State.
Look, if you're going to go to a bad bowl game, going to one in Hawaii is not a bad deal.
It's true. San Diego State. Let's do it.
Yeah, San Diego State.
Let's go. Let's go. That's like the first one we've picked together. Quick Lane Bowl.
I'm going Bowling Green. There's a former Mansfield Senior High Tiger, Anthony Hawkins, on the D line for Bowling Green. You know I love my hometown.
If I never had to hear about Mansfield
Let's
again.
go Falcons.
I was subjected to some action this year on a Tuesday night.
I love some good action.
So New Mexico State it is. This one also hurts because the Quick Lane Bowl, I believe, is in Detroit.
It is. I went there.
This was the one that Rutgers was maybe going to sneak their way into.
A couple years ago, I got to see him play in this exact bowl game against the Mitch Trubisky-led North Carolina Tar Heels.
Who won?
Rutgers beat them 40-21. And there was so little.
Where's Mitch Trubisky now anyway?
There was so little people there that I had nosebleed seats that I got for like $10 that they moved me all the way up to the very front because there were just so little people there.
What you're saying is if we showed up in Detroit on December 26th, they might just let us in. They might pay us to go in.
Honestly, probably.
Can we get credentialed for this game?
We can.
Camellia Bowl, a bowl featuring Georgia Southern and Buffalo.
Awful. Buffalo.
Yeah, I could not care less about this one. Georgia Southern because they beat Nebraska, and that was pretty funny.
Everybody beat Nebraska.
That's fair. The First Responder Bowl. Thank you for your service, Memphis and Utah State. Memphis. I don't have a reason. I can't research every ever-loving team that makes it to 6 games.
They're going to need a lot of first responders because there's going to be a lot of people that will want to die having to watch this game. It is Memphis. Memphis will win that football game.
The Birmingham Bowl, Coastal Carolina.
Are there back-to-back games? Oh, no, never mind. I thought there were 2 bowl games being played in Birmingham.
No.
But it was Montgomery. Sorry.
Coastal Carolina and Eastern Carolina. The Battle of Carolina.
Coastal Carolina, let's go. What even is that? What is their actual mascot?
Chanticleer.
Sure it is.
I'm just noticing how it's pretty formidable, except he's giving it the whole...
Which I hate.
We're going to try
Honestly,
real
didn't even
hard.
know what that was. I've been looking at this logo for like a couple minutes now, and outside of the whatever that thing is, the
Chanticleer.
Rooster, I did not know that was his arm until now.
Michigan's out of conference, gets real strong next year. We open with Eastern Carolina. I'm going to take them, just for the record. Here we go. Here's some teams we've heard of. Some alternate logos I copied and pasted into PowerPoint. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl, guaranteed to be a bad time for one of these teams. Oklahoma State's going to win this one because Wisconsin is butt.
Yeah. Graham Mertz actually transferring too. He just went into the portal.
Let's go. Braylon Allen was supposedly coming to Michigan and said, hey, I'm a Wisconsin Badger, so his loss. I hope Oklahoma State wins by $1 billion. The Military Bowl, thank you for your service. UCF and Duke. It's the Military Bowl, like a night. That's like military.
UCF.
The Space
Force. Gotta be UCF.
Give me my national champions circa 2017.
Oh my gosh. And it's not basketball, so Duke's not going to win.
Fair. Even if it is basketball. Liberty Bowl, Kansas,
I know
and
who
Arkansas.
you're picking.
Listen, I don't have a choice in this one, okay?
Loud and proud. Hold it up.
Right here. Ooh, big.
I'm not joining you on that because it's all Jayhawks now.
Rock chalk. By the way, this absolutely is not the official logo. That's absolutely somebody made that themselves. And
was that somebody you?
No, probably not.
It was him.
How about the Holiday Bowl? Here we go. See, again, now
this is where it starts to get good. Okay.
North Carolina.
We can finally
and
watch
Oregon.
football again starting on the 28th of December. So.
Which the tough thing about choosing these games too is you don't like trying to keep up with who's sitting out, who's not playing, who's doing whatever, who's going pro is difficult. That's just an aside. Oregon, because they were a pretty good team this year. I think Bo Nix is playing in the Holiday Bowl, so I'll take Oregon. If that changes, still Oregon because I don't know much about North Carolina. Oh, this is Drake May or whatever.
Yeah. Which he's coming back. He's coming back.
It's gonna be a really good football game. It's gonna be a real good football game.
I go Oregon as well.
Texas Tech and Ole Miss, the Lane Train. I'll take Ole Miss.
This is tough.
I'll take Ole Miss. They've got a good offense.
Yeah,
this terrible defense, but a good offense.
This is tough. I'm probably Ole Miss as well.
One of my favorite bowls, the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl.
What a name.
I tried to find the worst picture of Syracuse's mascot.
But I think it's the best.
That thing, kids, that pile
is
of...
Is that a thing of nightmares?
Check under your beds at night for this version of the Syracuse mascot.
What is his name? I know he's got
Ollie.
Ollie? Ollie the orange?
I don't know. Oliver? I don't know. Anyway, Minnesota. Mo Ibrahim, Tanner Morgan, or Kankle Fritz, or whatever that quarterback
can't wait to see his tweet after the game saying how he thought his performance was when he lights him up for 200-something yards on the ground.
Here we go. The big one, the Cheez-It Bowl. Did you see that like players from one of these teams or whatever are going to get to stay in a Cheez-It Bowl themed room? I
hate that.
It looks awful.
I'm not even going to say.
Google it at some point. It's really awful.
Don't. Not even worth it.
Florida State, I guess. They've been like, they're decent. I think they're top 15. I'll take them.
I'm going to go Oklahoma here. I'm going Oklahoma, and I'm also going to eat Cheez-Its while I watch it because I feel like legally you have to.
Okay, hook 'em against Washington, the Alamo Bowl.
This one is actually one I'm very excited for. Stop.
I mean, Michael Penix Jr. That's all there is to say about it. It's Washington. Has to be.
This is the one that I'm excited to watch because you got Ewers, you got
Bijan Robinson.
You got Bijan Robinson. I'm going Texas.
Okay.
I'm going Texas.
I don't hate it. You're wrong, but I don't
I think I'm right.
How about the Duke's Mayo Bowl? Again, another bowl game that Michigan State did not qualify for. Is it okay? So there was a big question about do you remember this last year? Would Duke's Mayo Bowl, like in that little Gatorade jug, would they have actual mayonnaise to pour on a coach? Did we ever get an answer on that?
That is disgusting.
Did we ever find an answer on that? Anyway,
we're going to find out when Maryland wins.
I've got NC State. I think NC State's better. I think Maryland is kind of butt. I know they almost beat Ohio State, but also
they almost beat Michigan too for a little bit there.
I don't think they did. Tony the Tiger, Sun Bowl.
None of these teams are great. You like that one?
You like that?
Kirk
Cousins.
That?
This is the battle of the light blue script font.
UCLA's winning.
Give me UCLA. Give me UCLA.
Give me UCLA.
Zach Charbonnet, quarterback. Like their offense is so good. I've got UCLA in this one.
Alrighty, heading over to Notre Dame and South Carolina in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. You're going to need all the nerds from Notre Dame to help you with your taxes this year because they're going to win.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going, but you connected it. You're wrong. South Carolina's been on a roll, man. South Carolina has been on an absolute tear. Give me the Gamecocks in this one. The Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl. This is Ohio against Wyoming, but instead of Wyoming, I figured
the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Josh Allen action. Also picking Ohio because Wyoming.
Fair. Tough but fair. I'm going Ohio.
This is not a joke. I had a childhood friend who was a pretty darn good football player in the backwoods of Michigan. He was recruited by one Division I school, and it was Wyoming. And he didn't end up going there. And so for that reason, I will pick Ohio.
And for that reason, he's out.
Orange Bowl.
This one had potential to be good.
It depends on who all plays.
Yes. That is the biggest question mark. I think I'm going Clemson, but I don't want to.
I think I'm going Clemson as well because they've got their quarterback for next year already, and he's going to play.
Well, I guess that's the question. Is he playing or is DJ?
No, DJ's transferring. DJ's in the portal.
I knew he was in the portal, but could he still legally play by that?
I don't think so. No. So I've got Clemson for the same reason. I wish we could see a healthy Hendon Hooker in this game.
Yeah,
it would make this phenomenal. It'll be okay. Clemson. Okay, we're out of order here on my sheet. That's okay. The All-State Sugar Bowl, Alabama and Kansas State. Again, not a playoff game because Alabama did not make the playoff. This is a tough one for me.
I don't think it's even remotely close. I think Alabama's going to destroy them.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I picked Kansas State. What was I thinking?
But what your heart just told what you actually believe.
I'm going to.
There's no chance.
It's circled as Kansas State. I've already submitted my ESPN Bowl Mania
That
picks.
is the worst thing you've ever said, and you've said a lot of garbage.
This is Iowa and Kentucky in the Music City Bowl. I don't know what else to say.
That graphic is about as bad as they're passing.
I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's being played in the Music City, which is in Tennessee, I'm realizing.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that you didn't throw in some weird graphic of Cade McNamara now, because there's a lot of salt.
Oh man,
and
what a missed opportunity!
That's a missed opportunity.
That's on me,
so.
Kentucky, because I believe Kentucky can score an offensive touchdown. That's all it takes.
We'll see. Well, is Will Levis playing?
He is not. I'm still Kentucky. Still Kentucky.
Give me Iowa.
Okay.
I'm going. You said something dumb. It's my turn.
Okay. By the way, we are not picking the TCU Michigan game or Ohio State Georgia.
I think it's obvious who we think will win.
We'll talk about that in 2 weeks' time. This is the ReliaQuest Bowl. How about that?
That is, what even is that?
I don't know, man.
Some of these bowl games, I look at their names and
did a child name this?
Sounds a lot like it. The Bad Boy Mowers.
What even is that? Like Malachi. Hey, my 3-year-old Malachi, what do you want to name the bowl game? Bad Boy Mower Bowl. Sure. Great.
I believe it.
What do you want? What about this one? Cheez-It. Great. ReliaQuest. Give me Illinois. I am not feeling Illinois. Brett Bielema has been super salty about the Michigan game. He was retweeting, by the way, Eric All, talking about things aren't what they seem. My guy, stop. I'll pick Illinois because of Chase Brown and Tommy DeVito. Brett Bielema, no.
I have Illinois going.
Fine.
They're going to win.
Let's move on. Let's go.
There is not a single part of that mascot, of that logo. Tell me their actual chant.
The wave, 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 wave. Okay. I don't know. Tulane. Look at that. Look at that thing.
They are the green wave. That is for sure. That is a green Kleenex.
How dare you? Tulane.
That looks like a wave.
Here's my actual reason why. Tulane's offense is really good. USC has Caleb Williams hurt. They can't tackle to save their life.
But is Caleb Williams going to play?
But listen, and that's the other question too. And on top of that, USC doesn't want to be there. USC had a playoff spot and they blew it. Tulane wants to be there. Give me the green wave.
I thought you had said the stupidest thing you had ever said until you said that.
Okay.
It is going to be a slaughtering. USC by 20 plus points easily. Even with a hurt Caleb Williams, I don't even know who their backup is. Doesn't matter. He's infinitely better than anything Tulane can throw at him. The only green wave that they're going to be doing is waving on the bus ride home after a loss.
This is another. How many bowls does Cheez-It sponsor?
Too many.
The Cheez-It Citrus Bowl.
I see two very visible Cheez-Its.
I hate that so much.
They could have at least done different flavors. Like one could have been the spicy nacho Cheez-It.
Yeah, this is the Cheez-It extra toasty.
This is the garlic
Citrus
Parmesan Cheez-It bowl. That's every bowl game. It's just a different kind of Cheez-It.
LSU and Purdue. Give me Purdue. I was impressed with Aiden O'Connell and Chuck Sizzle.
Yeah.
LSU is terrible.
No way. LSU by a million.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. And then finally, because we're not picking the Natty, Penn State.
The best bowl game.
Penn State and Utah. The granddaddy of them all. It's the Rose Bowl. This is a tough one. Like, joking aside, this is a really tough pick.
Genuinely, this is the one, outside of Tennessee and Clemson, this is the one that I'm most excited to sit down and watch by far. I think both have pretty good quarterbacks. The offenses are competent. Defensively, I think Penn State's got the edge. I'm going, because we saw it in person, I'm going Penn State. Part of me thinks Utah's going to win. I'm sticking with the Big Ten, though. I'm going Utah.
The
Utes?
What they showed me against USC was just incredibly impressive. I think this is going to be a phenomenal matchup.
Yes.
Watching Cam, oh my gosh, Rising. Thank you to me for coming up with it.
You're welcome.
I looked at you and you
read my mind. It's fair.
Cam Rising and Sean Clifford. That's going to be a fantastic quarterback battle. I agree. I've got Utah. This is a coin flip toss.
Yeah, 100%.
You can give your reaction to these bowl picks on Twitter at RivalPod, on Instagram at 1049 The River. Again, we are off next week. The following week, we will be talking about the college football playoff games. You'll be able to get your picks in. We'll go into some deep dives on all that. Thank you for listening, for subscribing. Enjoy the start of bowl season. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
See ya.
The Rivalry is a production of River Radio Ministries. Want live updates from the show? Follow us on Twitter at RivalPod for live tweets, score predictions, contests, and more. And make sure to follow us wherever you're listening now for new episodes every Wednesday. And if you like what you're hearing, tell a friend so they can listen too.